Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu ala rasulullah. We are still, now we are kind of in the end of this chapter of Book of Funerals. We are trying to, remember now he's trying to cover a few points that are, that he kind of didn't cover in detail during that chapter. So he covers some points related to ghusl here. He says that if it's not possible to do ghusl, then do dry ablution due to tayammum. And it might be not possible for many reasons, like somebody who was burned, for example, and if you wash him, his body will affect his body, and therefore you do tayammum in this case or other cases, and that we mentioned some of them actually during the lessons. If the deceased was in a state of major impurity, major ritual impurity, like a woman in her menstruation period, or a woman that just delivered, or any other of these cases, then one ghusl is sufficient. You don't have to do two ghusl or something. For one for the impurity and one for the death. No, one ghusl is sufficient. That covers both things. Now, the person that is doing the ghusl or doing the wash has to be a trustworthy person, and is not allowed to. It's haram for him to mention anything about the body that he saw. For example, it's a sin because it's a trust. You know, when you see the body of somebody, you are not allowed to mention anything related to this body. You know, some defects or anything like that, except for a necessity. Darura is something. For example, a case in the court or something like this. You know. Then it's okay. If two brothers or two wives argued who should do the ghusl, then a choice should be made by drawing lots. And you know, this point here is mentioned. It comes in. As I just want to, Imam Nawawi mentions this point, and it has some evidence in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. But what I want to say is that the point of drawing lots is used in some cases in the Shariah matters, and it's allowed. Now, another point here, moving on to the takfeen. It is recommended for the kafan to have colorful patterns. It should be white, ideally, but if it's not white, then the closest thing to white. If white is not available, then the closest thing to white, you know, maybe beige or something like this, but ideally it should be white. And also it is recommended to use expensive material for the kafan. You don't use silk, or you don't use any of these materials. You use cheap material for the kafan. For carrying the janazah, right now everybody is put in a box, but even like at the time, historically, it was recommended for a woman, and that's what they used to do, is to put her in a box, in a coffin. That's what for a man they used to wrap him, and then they used to carry him
on a cart or something.
Yeah. On what?
Cart. Like a simple bed.
Yeah, simple bed. Yeah, it's like simple bed.
That is called cart. C-O-T. Cart.
Cart, you know, cart or something like that. Then another point he mentions about following the janazah. It is permissible for a Muslim to attend and follow his non-Muslim relative janazah. Okay, so if it's a relative, it's allowed. Now, in the explanation, that's the words of Imam Nawawi. Imam Khatib al-Shibini, when he explains this, he says, "Oh, this is extended also to the neighbor or somebody that is, he says the neighbor or somebody. Basically, he extends it to your circle of
family, friend, and
family and friends. Like he extends it like this way. However, he says it is otherwise. This means that it is impermissible. It's haram to attend the janazah of a non-Muslim that is not related to you, that is not somebody that you know, or somebody that you know the family or something like that. it's not allowed. It's haram to attend such a janazah. But if it's a relative, or and he gives the evidence from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ commanding Ali ibn Abi Talib to attend the janazah of his father, Abu Talib, and bury him actually. So that's one of the evidence, and there's other evidence as well. So we stop here, inshallah.